Have you ever been so sure you were right that you almost destroyed everything you loved? I have. My name is Eleanor Sinclair, and this is the story of how I nearly tore my family apart, all because I couldn't see past my own pride. I've spent my whole life fighting for what's right. As a retired lawyer and civil rights activist, I've seen the ugly side of this world, and I've fought tooth and nail to make it a little fairer. My son Jake was supposed to carry on that fight. He became a respected judge, known for his fairness and integrity. I couldn't have been prouder. Then came Camille. She was everything I should have admired: smart, ambitious, and determined. But when Jake fell for her, all I could see was a threat to everything we'd built. You see, Camille and Jake met in court on opposite sides of a big case. Their rivalry turned into romance, and before I knew it, my son was head over heels for this woman who seemed to represent everything we'd fought against. Now I know what you're thinking. How could I, Eleanor Sinclair, champion of civil rights, have a problem with my son dating a successful black woman? Well, that's where things get messy. It wasn't about race, at least not directly. It was about what Camille represented to me. A shift away from the causes we dedicated our lives to. I convinced myself that Camille was a distraction, that her ambition would pull Jake away from the important work we'd been doing. In my mind, she became a symbol of everything I feared. The watering down of our message, the gentrification of our struggle. So I did what I thought was right. I tried to break them up. First, it was subtle. I'd remind Jake of his commitments, of the people counting on him. I'd arrange meetings with other women, hoping he'd find someone more suitable. But Jake was stubborn. He got that from me, I suppose. The more I pushed, the more he dug in his heels. Things came to a head one Sunday afternoon. Jake had brought Camille to our weekly family dinner, and I couldn't hold my tongue any longer. "Jake," I said, my voice dripping with disappointment, "have you forgotten everything we've fought for? Everything your father and I sacrificed?" Jake's eyes flashed with anger. "Mom, that's enough. Camille is brilliant and cares about the same things we do. If you just give her a chance, a chance." I scoffed. "While she's busy climbing the corporate ladder, our community is suffering. Is that the kind of partner you want? Someone who'll hold you back from making real change?" Camille sat there, her face a mask of hurt and disbelief. Jake stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "If you can't accept Camille, then you're choosing to lose me. Is that what you want, Mom?" His words hit me like a physical blow. Lose my son? No, I couldn't let that happen. So I did something I'm not proud of. I lied. "I'm sorry," I said, forcing a smile. "You're right. I've been unfair. Why don't we start over? I'll host a dinner next week, invite some of my old colleagues. It'll be a chance for Camille to see the work we do, to understand our world better." The relief on Jake's face was clear as day. Camille, though still wary, nodded her agreement. Little did they know, I had no intention of mending fences. This dinner would be my chance to show Jake exactly why Camille didn't belong in our world. The night of the dinner arrived, and I'd invited some of the most passionate, uncompromising activists I knew. As we sat around the table, I carefully steered the conversation towards our most controversial cases, our most radical actions. "Camille," I said, sweet as honey, "Jake tells me you're working on the Millbrook development case. Isn't that the one kicking out hundreds of poor families?" Camille straightened in her chair. "Actually, I'm working to make sure the development includes affordable housing and community spaces. It's complicated, but complicated." One of my friends interrupted. "Sounds like a fancy way of saying you're on the wrong side." I watched as Camille tried to explain, to defend herself, but with each question, each accusation, I could see her confidence crumbling. Jake tried to step in, but I skillfully kept him at bay, letting my colleagues do the dirty work for me. By the end of the night, Camille was near tears, and most of my friends left thinking she was just another sellout. I felt victorious, certain that I'd shown Jake the truth about his girlfriend. But as I watched them leave, Camille's shoulders slumped in defeat. I felt the first twinge of doubt. Had I gone too far? I pushed the thought aside. This was for Jake's own good, for the good of our cause. He'd thank me one day. How wrong I was. The next morning I woke to frantic pounding on my door. It was Jake, his face ashen, his eyes wild with fear and anger. "What have you done?" he yelled as soon as I opened the door. "Jake, what dat? Camille's in the hospital. Someone tampered with her car. She could have died, Mom. And it's all because of you." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. "I don't understand. I never dash. One of your friends from the dinner last night. He took your words to heart, decided Camille was a threat that needed to be eliminated. Are you happy now, Mom? Is this the justice you've been fighting for?" I felt the blood drain from my face. This couldn't be happening. I never meant for anyone to get hurt. I just wanted what? To control my son's life? To force him into the mold I'd created? Jake's next words shattered what was left of my self-righteousness. "I always thought you were a hero, Mom, but now I see you're just a bully with a cause. Stay away from us. I mean it." He left, slamming the door behind him, leaving me alone with the horrifying consequences of my actions. The next few days passed in a blur of shame and regret. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. All I could think about was Camille in that hospital bed, hurt because of my foolish pride. And Jake, the look of disgust in his eyes haunted me. It was time to face the music. I had to make this right even if Jake never forgave me. I went to the hospital, my heart pounding as I approached Camille's room. Jake was there, of course, holding her hand. When he saw me, his face hardened. "Get out," he growled. "Please," I said, barely above a whisper. "I need to apologize." Camille, her face bruised but her eyes clear, spoke up. "Let her speak, Jake." I took a deep breath. "Camille, Jake, I am so sorry. What I did was unforgivable. I let my fear and my pride blind me to the truth. Camille, you are an amazing woman, and I was a fool not to see it. I thought I was protecting Jake's legacy, but the truth is I was only protecting my own ego." Tears streamed down my face as I continued. "I've spent my life fighting against prejudice, and yet I judged you without even giving you a chance. I was wrong, so terribly wrong. What happened to you? I never meant for anyone to get hurt. But that doesn't excuse my actions. I understand if you never want to see me again, but please know that I will spend the rest of my life trying to make things right." The silence that followed seemed to last forever. Finally, Camille spoke. "Eleanor, what you did was cruel and misguided, but I believe in second chances. That's why I became a lawyer, to fight for people's right to redeem themselves. If you're truly sorry, if you're willing to change, then maybe we can find a way forward." Jake looked at Camille in disbelief. "After everything she's done, you're willing to forgive her?" Camille squeezed his hand. "Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, Jake. It means choosing to move forward. Your mother has a lifetime of good work behind her. One terrible mistake shouldn't erase that. Besides," she added with a small smile, "I'm going to be around for a long time. It would be nice if we could all get along." I felt a glimmer of hope, but Jake's expression remained stern. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Mom. Not yet. But for Camille's sake, I'm willing to try." It was more than I deserved, and I grasped onto that slim chance with both hands. "Thank you," I whispered. "I promise, I will do whatever it takes to earn back your trust." And so began my journey of redemption. It wasn't easy. There were awkward family dinners, tense conversations, and moments when I feared I'd never repair the damage I'd done. But slowly, day by day, I worked to prove that I had changed. I started by making a public statement, condemning the attack on Camille and acknowledging my role in creating the toxic atmosphere that led to it. I reached out to my old contacts, setting the record straight about Camille and the important work she was doing. But words weren't enough. I needed to show through my actions that I had truly changed. So when Jake and Camille announced their plan to start a foundation focused on social justice and advocacy for the underprivileged, I threw myself into helping them. I used my connections, my experience, my reputation, everything I had, to support their vision. And as we worked together, I began to see Camille for who she truly was. A passionate advocate for justice, with a fresh perspective that complemented Jake's approach perfectly. Months turned into years, and slowly the wounds began to heal. I watched in awe as Jake and Camille's foundation flourished, tackling issues I'd never even considered. They brought together big businesses and local communities in ways I'd always thought impossible. And you know what? I learned that progress doesn't always look the way we expect it to. One day, as we were working late at the foundation office, Camille turned to me with a soft smile. "Eleanor," she said, "do you remember that awful dinner?" I felt a pang of guilt. How could I forget? It was one of the worst mistakes of my life. Camille reached out and squeezed my hand. It was. But look at us now. Sometimes the worst moments can lead to the best changes. Her words hit me hard. I realized then how much I'd grown, how much we'd all grown together. Today, as I watch Jake and Camille exchange vows, my heart is so full I think it might burst. Not just because they're happy, but because I know I played a part in that happiness. Not by trying to control their lives, but by learning to let go and support them. Jake caught my eye as he slipped the ring on Camille's finger. The love and forgiveness in his gaze brought tears to my eyes. "I love you, Mom," he mouthed silently. In that moment, I understood something profound. True justice, true progress, it doesn't come from holding on to old grudges or fighting the same old battles. It comes from opening our hearts to new possibilities, from being brave enough to admit when we're wrong and to change. I almost lost everything because I was too stubborn to see the truth. But thanks to the incredible forgiveness and love of these two amazing people, I gained so much more. I found a new purpose, a wider view of what justice really means, and most importantly, a family brought together not by blood or beliefs, but by love and respect for each other. So let me ask you this. Have you ever judged someone unfairly, only to realize later how wrong you were? How did you make it right? Can love and forgiveness really overcome our deepest prejudices? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Have you ever had to swallow your pride and admit you were wrong? How did it change your life? And if this story of second chances and love conquering all touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We have a whole collection of stories just like this one, full of drama, emotion, and life-changing moments. Together, let's explore the beautiful, messy tapestry of human relationships and the power of forgiveness. Remember, it's never too late to open your heart and make a change. Sometimes the people we think are our enemies might just become our greatest teachers. So keep your hearts open, folks. You never know when love might surprise you.